All right, so Folsom or El Dorado Hills, these are literally the top 2 luxury markets we get asked about all the time on our channels. And today in this video, we're gonna break down each city.
And also here's the thing, not only luxury, but we're talking family friendly, resort style living. And these are the cities that we get called left and right about living in. But here's the thing, even though they're similar, they're kind of different, right?
They're very different. And that's why today in this video, we're gonna break down kind of the pros and cons, the different areas, and some of the things you should know if you're thinking about Folsom or El Dorado Hills.
And by the way, guys, I'm Sam Mark now.
I'm Sam Galobi.
And if you stay to the end of the video, we're gonna show you the #1 thing that is normally that deal breaker that makes people choose either El Dorado Hills or Folsom. What do you think, Sam, after we get into it?
We'll get into it. Let's go.
All right, so first of all, let's talk location, because if you're moving somewhere, you got to know where these places are located. Let's talk Folsom. Folsom, probably about 25 minutes downtown.
Yeah.
There's traffic on the 50. Folsom's a clean shot all the way downtown. I'm a big fan of 50. But El Dorado Hills?
Yeah, you're kind of further up the hill in El Dorado Hills. In fact, you're going to drive up the hill to get into El Dorado Hills. So if you want a longer commute time, it's going to be like 35, maybe 40 minutes plus. But you are going to have that hillside living in El Dorado Hills, which is known for. But it's a little bit more, could be a little bit more rural, a little bit more country compared to Folsom, right?
I think so. I mean, also, you got to factor in traffic.
Yeah.
With all those new homes happening in Folsom Ranch,
Yep.
that puts a little bit more of a traffic strain on
Yep.
both Folsom and El Dorado Hills,
Yep.
because that's going to add a little bit more drive time as well, too.
Yep. So if you want like a little bit quieter vibe, a little bit more further out, I think El Dorado Hills is a good bet.
Yeah.
But if you want to be kind of closer to the action, maybe Folsom's a good bet, right?
No, 100%. We're talking El Dorado Hills right now is almost more expensive than Granite Bay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've definitely taken their different roads.
Yeah.
I think, like the barrier to entry in Folsom's a little bit cheaper. But again, Folsom, in my opinion, and we've talked about this offline, is probably one of the most competitive markets there is, right? I mean, people love Folsom. Why?
I think it's because it's established. It's got a lot of good inventory right now. And there's a lot of nice older areas that just have this nice family-friendly feel that people like. We also have all the trails, famous Johnny Cash Trail, the lake, stuff like that. And you don't got to go too far from stuff like this.
I think El Dorado Hills, I see it a little bit more resorty, a little bit more kind of like, you can do those Zoom meetings, you can play the golf and everything too. Not saying there isn't golf courses here, but I think Folsom is a little bit more, you got the access to downtown, you got access to Folsom Lake really close by. I mean, they're so similar, but so different at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is your top thing that you love about El Dorado Hills? Like if someone said to you, Sim, what do you think of El Dorado Hills? What's that one thing is?
I like the separation. I like a little bit more quiet feel. I like to have space in my backyard with my neighbors.
Okay.
To me, El Dorado Hills, when I think of it, it's like hillside living, maybe a small gated community with like 100 homes in there, a little bit more private, so I like that.
Folsom, what's your favorite thing, bar none, about Folsom?
Folsom, I like the proximity. Definitely. You got everything. It was also rated as one of the safer places to live in Sacramento. I got my own friends who are in law enforcement that want to live in Folsom. They're like, Folsom's great. It's a great place to be. And I think it's a great hub to raise a family, generally speaking. And so that to me stands out. I think the safety aspect, people feel comfortable here for that.
Okay, for me, I feel like Folsom just feels a little bit like not so far off, right? Like Folsom, I feel like if I'm going to go to the Bay Area, yeah, it's not going to be a fun drive, but it's not going to be too far off. I don't feel like I'm away from stuff. You got Costco that's like 5 minutes. You got, like I said, Whole Foods. You got shopping. You got Folsom Lake. You got Lake Natoma. You got everything kind of at your fingertips, and you got the 50 super close by.
Yeah.
So you have that access to downtown, which I think is pretty great.
All right, so here we are at the Palladio. Now, this is probably one of Folsom's most famous little areas for shopping, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I would say outside of Roseville, this is where people come for shopping easily.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of little boutique shops, places where you can get clothes, food, coffee. There's a Barnes & Noble where you can get your books at if you wanted to. And just kind of walk around, eat ice cream with the kids, really, right?
So I think it's planned out really nicely. I mean, I don't think, if you come down East Bidwell, you're going to find shops. You're going to find the Palladio. You're going to find big box stores, home goods, and it's going to lead you to the water as well, too. I mean, it's laid out so nice. And one of my favorite stores, Costco, right on the hill, 5 minutes away. So Shopping wise, I would say majority of people, even from El Dorado Hills, come down here for majority of their shopping. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, especially like you mentioned, Costco and all that major shopping right here. Most people are making the commute to get down here, right? Now, the one thing with El Dorado Hills is that they have the town center, and the town center is pretty nice too because it kind of replicates in a way this feel, right? With its own taste, kind of reminds you of Tuscany, a little bit Mediterranean, high-end vibe over there, right?
And now we're in the town center, El Dorado Hills. What do you think?
I love the town center. To me, it's got a little bit more relaxed feel. Of course, you got the pond and the waterfall right here kind of going on. It gives you, gives just like the sense of relax. Kind of got a wind blowing through right here in the evening. Pretty chill.
They've got music, just like Folsom right over there on the water.
Yeah.
You got the Mercedes-Benz dealership right over there. You got the Palladio. You got Encanto, a really nice Mexican restaurant as well, too. You got everything. This is a little bit, what would you say as far as the bougie level comparatively towards the Palladio?
To me, this is a little bit more bougie. In a way, you got the Nugget as well, but it's also another great, station for people in El Dorado Hills. Around here, though, you're not going to see a ton of housing. The housing seems to be on that side of Highway 50. This is kind of its own thing over here, in my opinion.
I like it. I think the weather's always kind of, like if you noticed at the Palladio, it was a lot warmer, but you got the body of water here, so it feels a little cooler here and everything too.
Yeah.
I like the vibe here. I think the town center, if they create something like this in Folsom Ranch, which they plan on doing, I think it'll bring a whole new atmosphere to Folsom. But as far as El Dorado Hills, this is why everybody comes here.
Yeah. I mean, my buddy lives right here, just up the street, and he loves just the walkability. Could go to the bank, can go get food. I think there's a dentist here to get your teeth cleaned if you wanted to, but it's really got that nice walkability if you live here. But as far as like single family homes, there's not a lot right around this.
What do you think are like, as far as your favorite communities in Folsom and in El Dorado Hills? What would be your the ones that you get a lot of calls for?
Definitely in Folsom, if someone's looking for new homes, it's going to be like the Folsom Ranch, Russell Ranch area that we've covered a lot really on the channel.
Yeah. That's
kind of like that new build segment, right? Then there's also people who don't really want the new build style. Maybe they just feel like it's underdeveloped. I just had a call actually literally this morning of a client, shout out to Joe. He was just telling me one thing he didn't really like about buying the new build in Folsom Ranch is he's like, no one has grass outside. No one's mowing their lawn. No one's even coming outside, and he just thought that more people would be engaging with each other out there. Whereas he's like, it almost has like a Bay Area feel where everyone's to themselves, right?
I would also say comparatively new home building, Folsom and El Dorado, Folsom is just Folsom's a juggernaut as far as the new home building. I mean, they're going to have new communities after new community after new community. Taylor Morrison just purchased some land over there as well too. So they're going to open yet another community.
Yeah, but with El Dorado Hills, you don't really have the options for new builds as much. There's some smaller communities. But a lot of the stuff that's going on in El Dorado Hills is really like single lot, custom home builds, right? Where you're already $1.5 million, $2 million plus. When it comes to schools, which one do you think is better? It's going to be Folsom or El Dorado Hills?
Well, as we both know, schools are super subjective. I'd say great schools out of Oregon is a great place to look at it.
Yeah.
But honestly, everyone I've moved into either El Dorado or Folsom has never complained about either school district. So I think it's kind of a win-win, don't you?
Yeah, but there are definitely some newer schools kind of on the Folsom side right now. You're in the Folsom-Cordova Unified School District. Whereas with El Dorado Hills, you have a few different school districts that you play into, one of them being Rescue, the other one being Buckeye. And so you kind of have to be careful about where you're buying and what schools you're tying into as well.
Well, I think also that plays into the exact thing of you got to do your due diligence. You got to figure out what schools are impacted, what schools you have access to, and basically how your children like the schools. Because after all, you got to make sure the kiddos are fine if you're making the move, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say would be that typical person that calls you that wants El Dorado Hills? What does that look like?
They want a little bit more upscale living. They kind of like the nature feel. I mean, right now we're getting that. We're actually walking through nearby Empire Ranch in Folsom, just giving that feel as well. But this is kind of what people picture when they're thinking about El Dorado Hills, possibly hillside living, views. You could get properties with views of Folsom Lake, and it's just absolutely stunning. So I think if you're okay with some wildlife and kind of want access to those nature trails and a little bit of that privacy, it's going to be kind of more of their feel as far as what they're asking for in El Dorado Hills.
For me, I think a lot of people I get the calls from people looking at El Dorado Hills. They want that house that's going to get them out of the Bay Area. They want that house that they always dreamt of with the views, close to golf courses, resort-style living, and they want a little of the bougie, a little bougie there.
Yeah.
And I think El Dorado Hills, that's kind of as far as the calls we get. Now, what do you think about Folsom? What is the person who's looking for Folsom normally?
Folsom, a lot of the times, for me, is families that are wanting to get into a top-notch school district. They may want newer homes, maybe minimal maintenance. Some would still want some views if they can get it, and maybe even a larger backyard. But a lot of it has to do with being kind of family-oriented and being in a great school district. But, you got to really just drive the areas and get a feel. Because, like, for me, I would be okay with either as long as it was the right neighborhood and the right home. Now, with pricing, so Folsom's median price came in at $765,000 this last month, which seems pretty attractive, and it's only been about a 4% increase compared to 12 months ago. Now, El Dorado Hills, median sold price came in at $920,000, but only a 0.5% increase. Where do you think is truly the market to be in as far as like future valuation and investment?
With all the new homes coming in Folsom, I think that it dilutes the market a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd say if someone's thinking they're going to jump into Folsom and get something for $750 in like communities like Empire Ranch, Briggs Ranch, I mean, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people might think $750, jumping in here, choosing a home. Maybe in the new homes, and still it's very competitive there.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, if you can get something $750 in Folsom all day long, that's a great price to be in.
It's definitely a little bit more affordable in Folsom. It's showing a little bit more on the appreciation side over the last year. I think both are still going to be very good buys depending on the price range that you're in, right? For El Dorado Hills, I mean, even though the median price is like at $920, I still see a lot of my clients pushing that $1 million or more mark to get into El Dorado Hills for the home that they truly want.
Well, here's the rub, right? The idea is that Folsom and El Dorado Hills are like 5-10 minutes away from each other, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about that big of a price difference. So a lot of people are saying like, well, okay, do I go to El Dorado Hills and go close to $1 million? Do I stick in Folsom? Realistically, get in at 800. I got SMUD, and I'm closer to fire departments, which we know that means better for home insurance. Like, what is that push to El Dorado Hills really justified that price point being so close? What do you think?
Yeah, and so that brings up a good point. I mean, even with like the fire insurance, and we've had crazy premiums here in California with fire insurance, that leads to a super important point in El Dorado Hills that the premiums tend to be a lot higher. You're in more of a wildfire risk area, and so a lot of times I see those premiums go really high for those properties. I've even had clients personally that wanted to start off in El Dorado Hills and have changed their minds and shifted more inland to Folsom to avoid some of those rising costs.
Also, I mean, if you look here, we're in Folsom, but you couldn't really tell if it was El Dorado Hills or if it's Folsom, right? You have these areas that are very much like, you don't know where you're at. So you say to yourself, well, I'm in Folsom, lot lower price point, home insurance is cheaper. And for me, one of the biggest things is PG&E versus SMUD.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, we both are on SMUD, and I'm a big fan. How about you?
Yeah, SMUD's definitely going to be a lot cheaper in Sacramento County for Folsom, and then you have PG&E, El Dorado County for El Dorado Hills. And so get a lot of complaints about the rising costs with that, and especially being on the outskirts of town. Definitely noticed that the pricing is a big factor for people on PG&E.
Going to your point about the price point in El Dorado Hills, I think there are a lot of people that say, you know what, I know I'm on PG&E, and you know what, I'm okay with the home insurance. I'm moving to Sacramento, in the Sacramento area, because I want it all. I'm selling my $2 million condo in the Bay Area, and I'm looking to get myself something that I've always dreamt of. And so I see a lot of those buyers that just say like, yeah, I get it. I'm on PG&E. I get it. I got a little bit more home insurance to pay, but this is my forever home. So I would say El Dorado Hills is more of the forever home location than Folsom. What do you think?
Possibly. Yeah, I think it really just like boils down to the neighborhood because, like you mentioned, this location here, I mean, we're looking at properties that are basically custom right here on the hill, and it's technically Folsom.
Yeah.
Right, and it paints a very good picture of El Dorado Hills. So I think like going through the different areas, or maybe even working with like a local pro to dissect some of these areas and show you like the different spots that are kind of these sweet zones for Folsom.
One of the communities we get a call a lot for is Sundal, that Sundal area.
Yeah.
That with a $2 million, $3 million, $4 million homes that gives you, like you're saying, the El Dorado Hills views, everything El Dorado gives you, but it gives you that Folsom location and the SMUD and the access to Costco and shopping a little closer than El Dorado. So
yeah, so you can get into the super premium luxury market if you wanted to in Folsom. All right, guys, well, there you have it. That's Folsom and El Dorado Hills. Well, Mark, what do you think is the biggest deciding factor for people looking to move into these areas?
that's it. The do gotcha. It's not like we promised you this at the beginning of the video. It's probably electricity costs. Either you go with PG&E or you go with SMUD. SMUD is half the price.
Yeah.
And home insurance.
Home insurance is going to be a big one that you should consider. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and let us know in the comments, which one do you prefer? Which one seems like the clear standout for you? We'd love to hear your feedback. And also make sure to check out Mark's channel. He's got a great channel reviewing a lot of the areas in Sacramento. Also link his channel and a few other videos that you should check out right down below. Make sure to check out this one if you want to know more about these areas. For now, my name is Sam Galobi.
I'm Mark McDonough.
We'll see you on the next one.